Up the meeting for custom streaming. Oh. Oh. Aha. Check 1 2 1 2. Sin City Steve, welcome to another edition of Vegas Badboyz of podcasting. I'm DJ Impact, and I got Sin City Steve.
What's up?
I think we did this right?
Hey, until we go back and try to find this live feed and we can't see it anywhere, then we know that. Then we know what happened.
Right. I think that's the case. Well, good, man. It's good to see you. As everyone who
Likewise.
May or may not be able to see us, we don't have half of our crew here. Matt Michaels, of course, he is away. He actually had been planned to be away for some time, and having a little R&R, which he needs some. We can all relate to that. All right. So and then we don't have Simon Street with us tonight. Hopefully he will be back next show. So we'll see what's going on with that. So with that, man, it's just going to be me and you, Sin City Steve. We'll see what happens. We'll do our best to entertain, and we will go from there. I'm running more than I normally run, folks. So if I look like I'm really confused, that's only because there's a lot going on here, and I'm just trying to figure it all out. All right, there we go. I think that takes care of some of that. All right, so let's get right into it, man. Another week of wrestling, Monday Night Raw. Let's just get right into that. I mean, before we get to the main event and everything, overall, I mean, I guess the show wasn't too bad. I think you start to grow a certain tolerance of what you see from Raw, and you just either just gonna just hate it or you just live with it. And I think at this moment I'm in like the live with it moment. And and there's been times in, I will say, it's been a while, but there's been times in Raw history. I mean, for Christ, they've been on for what, 30 plus years, if that?
Yeah.
That I've had these moments before where I was like, I mean, there was one time I think I probably took like 2 years off of wrestling.
Yep.
And this was probably, and I was just like, so, and this probably would be one of those moments, but it's so much going on and everything that it's like, okay, I still got to watch it. So, I mean, saying all that, saying that, like I said, I thought the show was all right. What's going on with the match with, and I'm trying to remember because I actually watched all of Raw, which I never do. Charlotte had a match with what's her girl? Shayna. Yeah. And
any guesses as to who won that shit?
Yeah. I'm waiting for Shayna to have that moment. I talked about it last week. But I guess they're really going to build on the Shayna having the beef with Nia Jax, and I don't know. I mean, it could play out well, I guess. But
I mean, realistically, if you're a fan of Shayna Baszler or appreciate her work, I mean, realistically, you just have to appreciate the fact that she's being seen on TV, whether or not she's being booked to lose every single match that she's in. I mean, she hasn't gotten a win on the main roster in a singles match in over a year.
Right.
It's definitely I'm a fan of Shayna. I think she's awesome. I think that she was booked extremely well in NXT.
Right.
Realistically speaking, I would actually love to see her get drafted back to NXT. But with the changes that happened this week,
Right.
and if the rumors are in fact true that NXT is going to be a Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon production, then I mean, I don't know how much it's going to differ which show that she's on, unfortunately.
That's true.
Yeah,
that part is
Impact,
true.
Impact, I feel you on the Stockholm syndrome on Raw, though, man. It's like, I mean, dude, they've got you kidnapped for 3 hours. So
yeah,
make the best of it, I guess.
The thing is when you want to have a good storyline, that's what keeps me interested. And that's part of my issue sometimes with AEW as well when we talk about, because again, I mean, I'll talk about when we get over there, because when we talked about with Adam Cole and Kazarian, again, it's the same deal. I mean, great match, but there's no story. So it's one of those things where, with me, it's sometimes hard to get invested in the match if there's not a whole lot that's going on. You're telling me there is one and I'm not sure of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what a better way for Adam Cole, who is in the elite, to make his debut than to go one-on-one with the elite hunter and someone that they've built up for weeks on end, Frankie Kazarian.
Okay.
But again, we'll talk about AEW.
Okay, I got you.
But yeah, like I totally feel you. It seems like almost as if they're just trying to throw things on the wall right now with Raw and see what sticks.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like as if we're spiraling toward the draft and just being experimental with stuff, which I'm cool with.
Sure. Damian Priest and Jeff Hardy, I can get with it. I can get with that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, I mean, Priest, I think that it's great that so many people are now starting to see how good Damian Priest actually is.
Right.
I mean, for those of us that happen to follow his career through Ring of Honor and his time in Feds before that,
right.
We're all hip to his work, and it's great that he's able to show that week in and week out on national TV. There were, a couple of timing things, but realistically, very, very solid match by Priest and Hardy as well. I mean, it takes two, but both guys did pretty well. And it was definitely one of the better matches on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, they did kick it off. So we got a chance to see, not kick it off, but eventually saw the Bobby Lashley versus Randy Orton match, which, I really didn't know how that was going to go. I really thought maybe Orton was going to really, possibly, why not?
Yeah.
I mean,
so Impact, I have to ask you.
But I didn't know.
Wait.
Let me tell you, I didn't know that Big E, let's start from there. I didn't know that he had sent out a tweet that he was really going to cash in that Money in the Bank. Now, if I would have saw that, then I would have been like, "Oh, this is not happening." But I don't follow any wrestlers. The truth is out there, guys. I don't follow.
The truth is out there.
I don't follow any wrestlers at all, and so I mean, I wouldn't get any work done, man. My real job, I'd be always looking at, oh my God, she said that. Oh, he said that. But it'd just be constantly looking at tweets and IG messages all day. So if I would have saw that, I probably would have known. But not knowing that, I was like, oh, well, maybe, Orton will do this. And then and even up to the point to when Big E actually said, I think middle of the show, that he's now going to cash it in, I still didn't know. So I was like, he ain't gonna really, I didn't know, and I'll even be true. Even when it came to the match, right? When he finally cashed it in, I was like, man, they're not gonna ring the bell. Someone's gonna get involved and it's gonna stop. I mean, I was saying all of that. Like, I'm just knowing this is not gonna really happen. And then when I finally saw that, oh no, this is really happening, then I knew he had to win. From that point, when I was convinced that there was no gimmicks involved, I was like, oh, he's gonna win it. And I think that's a good thing, right? We've always been fans of Big E. And it's great that he's finally have this moment. What was your take when you actually, saw that he was going to do this?
So when I saw it on social media, I was number one, I was pretty surprised to see that he was calling his shot. But keep in mind, we have mentioned that the people with the Money in the Bank briefcase, I mean, by default, that's almost a heel type of a gimmick to give somebody, because they're going to blindside somebody from behind and cash in and, you know, do all that kind of stuff. And we've mentioned on the show in the past that it really does define a babyface to be able to say, hey, I'm going to challenge you at this particular show or on this night or whatever the situation might be. And then to actually have that happen to, you know, I do have to ask. So the numerous times that they showed Big E kind of hanging out, it, you know, backstage, did any of those things click for you? Like it, so nothing was hitting home for you until it actually happened.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, that's what I knew it was really going to happen. I mean, because like I say, halfway during the show, he did say, I think he was talking to New Day, like, I'm going to cash this in. So I'm like, okay, well, he can't say he's going to cash it in and not cash it in. So I guess he's going to cash it in. But then when it actually took place and he came down to the ring, I was still a little bit doubtful, like, okay, he's going to cash it in, but something's going to happen for it not to happen. You know, I was really thinking it was one of those things was going to take place. So, so when I finally saw, because who announces that? Who announces that that's not how Money in the Bank works.
Only like purebred babyface, like only somebody that's not going to ambush somebody from behind. And I legitimately think that this was the best way to do it, rather than to have him come, after Lashley was already beaten down. He already gave him warning that he was going to do this. So if he wouldn't have, fired off those warning shots on social media or in the promos or anything like that to kind of get everybody prepared, then I think that, it would be, I don't want to say looked at less, but it wouldn't have been as purely defined of a babyface type of a move. Now, the reasoning behind why they chose to pull the trigger on this now is really debatable. Was it because of Monday Night Football? Was it because of ratings from other wrestling shows? Was it for reason A, reason B, reason X, Y, Z? Who knows?
Well, I think we're going to kind of discuss a little bit on that. I think on some 3-count topics. So, I mean, that all could be all the above. Who knows? But they definitely went with it. So let's see how it goes. Nevertheless, I'm proud to see that he is the champion, and let's just see how that happens. So going right into SmackDown, because we're kind of putting all the WWE together. I know I separate NXT, but it needs its separation right now. Except it's brand new. It's 2.0. But SmackDown, man, as always, I'm now Steve. That's where I love SmackDown. Yeah, it's rarely anything I watch on there that I just go, man. I mean, even even Apollo Crews attacking Nakamura again. I'm like, I'll take that.
It's a shame that Matt Michaels isn't here to shit all over Apollo Crews making a return. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know that we'll have to get some sort of a diatribe from Michaels at some point, ripping into Commander Aziz and Apollo Crews showing up.
So. I already hear it right now. But it was great to see that whole thing. And by the way, that attack came out of nowhere. It was so great how they did that, because I mean, they literally are just partying on the announce table. And like, I don't know. It must have just happened fast, because even the fans didn't respond to after it happened, So it was a good spot for that to happen. But overall, man, Roman Reigns is just, let me ask you this. Did you ever think Roman was going to get to this point in his career? Because earlier it was just not looking good for him, and no one wasn't buying nothing. And I was like, what are we going to do with Roman?
Hey, dude, all I have to say is suffer and succotash, son. Like that epitomizes the babyface run of Roman Reigns.
Right.
Just saying these things that are obviously force fed to him that are in no way, shape, or form how anybody could ever picture him actually talking.
Right.
But, realistically, now that he's in this situation, at first I was kind of in disbelief that he would be able to actually grow and, prosper the way that he has. But the fact of it all is that he has risen to the occasion and then some. Like, he is the number one with a bullet in WWE for either show. And it's
right.
It's awesome to see it because he is in the best part of his career, the best run of his career right now. Yeah. And, it's one of those things that we are realistically witnessing an amazing transformation. Somebody that started off in one particular way. Fans, they took to him until he started talking, and then they rejected him. Right. And so what? He goes away, comes back, completely reinvents himself. Right. And just unbelievable.
I wonder, was that kind of his idea to say, hey, Vince, because I believe when you're at that level, when you're at his level, John Cena, The Rock, when you're at that level, at some point you can have a little bit of say onto what you want your character to be. And I think that must have been a conversation that he must have had, and they was like, at this point, what we're going through right now, and COVID and no audiences and everything, it can't be a bad deal. So roll with it. If you feel that you can make this role happen, go with it. It's my assumption of what must have happened, and he's just been selling it ever since. And of course, having Paul Heyman by his side, that's gold. So, yeah. And Paul is just great because I'm watching him, and you're going like, like, what are you doing, Paul? Are you Team Roman or are you Team Brock? Now you're selling out Brock on here. Yep. Saying he's full of fear. I'm like, Brock showed no fear. It's just great, watching that. Yeah, man. And shout out to everybody in our chat. We see you on there. We got John on there and Chris. And a few others. Just thanks for coming through. Normally, I would be trying to type as well, but I'm running all the boards here today, so I won't respond as much. So if you see a chat sensitivity that someone's saying, throw it in there, man.
In fact, I'll go ahead and do it. I mean, John just says Roman Reigns finally transcended into the megastar that Vince envisioned when he was forced down our throats years ago. Good on Roman. Acknowledge him, without question.
But you know what? That was definitely Vince's vision in terms of where he wanted to be, but that wasn't Vince's vision in terms of the way he wanted him to get there. I think, like I was just saying, something needs to happen to make that change. And it seemed that would be a great question when, at some point in Roman's career, for someone to ask him, during that time you left, did you have that moment of, I can't go back being this baby face anymore? I just can't. Because if it was up to Vince, I think he would have allowed him to still be that way. How many times have we wanted John Cena to have that heel moment? I had it so many times. It's not the fact I didn't like John Cena, because I do like John Cena, but there were moments just for a little bit. I wanted him to just go over, and just be just a heel for a moment. And it was a few times I thought they was about to tease that and let that happen. And I was excited for it, but they still didn't. They never pulled it. So,
dude, it's so crazy. I mean, for the longest time, the whole thing was, okay, well, the rumor was that they would turn Cena heel if they found somebody to replace him as top babyface, and they never could. Right. They never could find anybody to replace him. And realistically, that's why you never saw any kind of a Cena heel turn, for better or for worse. I mean, whether it was because they never developed anybody, or whether, people just didn't take to anybody that was attempting to be developed. Yeah. But yeah, the fact of the matter is that, Yeah, there wasn't anybody to replace Cena, so he was kind of locked in the babyface role the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, some other things, man, on SmackDown. So, of course, we got a chance to see a tag team match with Big E, Balor, and the Usos. Again, great match. I got a chance. I didn't really get to see the match, but Happy Corbin attack Kevin Owens. Oh man, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the gimmick, man. They didn't do so much during the Madison Square Garden show. They left so much out that there's a lot of things that they have been building on. I wanted to see, and he's one of them. Another one I'm glad they brought back was the Naomi sort of confrontation. I don't know why they skipped on that one last week either. I wanted to see more of that too. Is this possibly going to get Sonya, you think, back in the ring? Is that where this headed?
No, so I have a pretty interesting thought.
Okay.
I mean, so let's say Sonya doesn't give Naomi her shot.
Okay.
Her match.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe you have to go to the head of the table in order to get your match. And keep in mind, Naomi definitely has a connection to the family.
Right.
Do we see the first female member of the bloodline?
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I like that.
That's a perfect angle. That's a perfect angle.
Sure.
And and the chat is right on top of it. They're saying the exact same thing. Get Naomi with the bloodline, acknowledge her. Hell yes, do that.
That is awesome. That would, man. Okay, I'm with that. I'm with that right there. Because at first I'm just kind of like, I know that we did a report saying that Sonya was supposed to have been a part of, I guess, Money in the Bank or something, and they end up pulling that. So I didn't know she was actually ready to come back to compete. So when I began to see this kind of talking back, I'm like, well, maybe they're trying to aim to get her back in there, and that's the way. But I like what you got going on right there. If that's what they're thinking.
Hey, we say it every now and then, but Uncle Bruce, if you're listening, seriously,
make it happen.
Make that happen, bro.
Right.
Please.
Absolutely. Just a couple other things. Of course, Seth Rollins is just on fire as usual.
How about that suit?
Listen, if they ever do some sort of show or tour of his house, they got to go to that closet. That's all I want to see is all of those suit jackets he's got.
And bro, it's not just him. Look at his wife in the very next segment. I mean, she was wearing some outlandish shit too.
She was.
They just have some impeccable fashion sense. That's all that can be said.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, they do. And the whole rivalry with that, I guess he wants to have one more match, which I got to be honest with you, I actually don't mind. See, there's just certain times, I know we sometimes get annoyed seeing some of the same matches happen time after time after time, but there are just some that, you can listen, there are wrestling chants of people that go fight forever. And, if you're going to get that, then why does it matter if you fight 1, 2, 3, 4 times? If you're enjoying the match, like truly enjoying it the way that you're chanting, then why not see it again? And those two right there, I tell you, I'm just wondering how they're going to play this out, because he made it seem like, he might show up at the man's house if you don't show up, So,
dude,
but I'm loving this. Yeah. Go ahead, man.
It's crazy, but I think you've got to, you've got to look a little bit deeper. What is the end game to this? Are they going to have a loser leaves kind of a match? Or are they finally going to add the first stipulation to a match at Extreme Rules? I don't know if you're aware of this, but when I was doing some show prep, I was looking over matches that they've announced for Extreme Rules, which is normally a gimmick match pay-per-view. I'm not seeing any kind of a gimmick match. Like everything is just a standard match.
Yeah.
Are they going to make it an Extreme Rules match between those two? We'll see.
Yeah. And and are we gonna, I mean, we didn't even see Edge this past week, so he's gotta show up Friday if he's gonna be a part of it. I mean, yeah.
Have him come out in like a neck brace or something like that, make him look all vulnerable, and then have him like rip it off and beat the hell out of Seth or something.
Now, see, I'm about to be talking out of my ass for a second, so just play along with this, okay? But
you don't have to give that kind of a qualifier. We have people on this show that do that every week, and they don't give that qualifier.
Hey, true. But this is when I think if you had like the ultimate booking of having collaborations of the companies, right? Wouldn't that be awesome that as Seth is really finally about to just end Edge, period, somehow that brings in the Impact World Champion to come save? Like, wouldn't that just be huge to hear it? You know what I mean?
That would be amazing.
It would be.
in order for that to happen, the kids have to get along at the lunch table, and I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
I know. But I'm just saying, I was thinking about that. Wouldn't that just been great? For that, in fact, have the Brood music to hit, and they're like, "What's going on?" And man, all right. Anyways, and of course, the end SmackDown, we had Bianca Belair, her homecoming, and we got a chance to see Kane, the mayor of Knoxville,
Mayor Kane.
Yeah, man. I was hoping. I'm like, man. It looked like you're knocking out two jobs at once, because you don't want to be supposed to be doing one job and add another, but you can talk to your constituents and be a part of a wrestling show at the same time. I mean,
exactly. You can't go wrong. And keep in mind, I mean, Kane distributed the world's largest key to Bianca Belair to the entire county. It wasn't just to the city; it was to the fucking county. That's when you know that this is like main event, top shelf shit.
McAfee said, he was like, that key opened up the door to help me build it in Knoxville. The things that come to that man's mind.
Dude, but Pat McAfee is my favorite announcer on WWE TV.
Yeah.
He's just awesome.
Absolutely, man. But yeah, that whole thing was great. I love this. I love the setup. She got her props, her love. Got them singing the Tennessee college song apparently, and
Rocky Top.
Yeah, and then that brought up, of course, Becky Lynch out there, and she's definitely playing her heel role really good. So we gonna see where all of this goes. I guess she'll still be holding that belt for some time. I don't think they're ready to throw that back on Bianca, but who knows? I mean, technically, I'm sure they took some heat from how she lost it in the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm still ain't sold on how they did that, but whatever. It is what it is. But overall, I mean, it was a good show, man. SmackDown was still performing great as always.
SmackDown was super entertaining. It's out of all of the WWE programming, out of all of the shows, SmackDown is by far the easiest watch for me every single week. It never really lets down. I mean, there are some things here and there that are like, whatever, but it's not like Raw where it's over half the show.
They have to make some changes, I guess, for the draft. So with that, is the goal? I mean, the goal is, of course, to keep SmackDown strong, but they have to make Raw better. To do that, are we going to have to take some from SmackDown over to Raw to help do that? And so
I mean, so the name that jumps off the page immediately for me anyway is Finn Balor. You send Finn Balor over to Raw. And obviously, I think that that will allow you to end up moving like maybe a Bobby Lashley over to SmackDown, which I think really would go extremely well. I don't know. Maybe you have Bobby Lashley show up on SmackDown and people start cheering him because he's this, just an unstoppable badass. MVP is going to be off TV for a little while. So without having MVP get in the way and, cut those heel promos, maybe they push Lashley as the unstoppable babyface. Who knows?
Yeah, possibly. And then we're in the chat. Looks like Javon is letting his feelings out. He says Raw sucks. Period. That's all he's got to say. Raw sucks. Don't worry, Javon. We're gonna get Raw. We're gonna get Raw back to it should be. We got some good, we're gonna pull some good names out of the draft. So
we'll see about that.
The first draft, though, is gonna be first round pick Roman Reigns to SmackDown. That's gonna be number one.
Yeah, they're going to make sure that the head of the table stays right where he is.
Exactly. But you know what?
John actually has a really good point.
Oh, what do you say?
He just says set up Brock versus Lashley that way. Finally.
Oh, finally. Yeah.
That does honestly does need to happen.
Is it real legitimate heat between the two, or is it just that they're? I just heard something a long time ago, and maybe that was just them playing up to the idea. But I thought there was really some, not that they hate each other, but there was some.
I'm sure that there's some competitive fire between the two of them, but I don't think there's any legit beef between the two of them.
Got you. Okay. Got you. All right. Cool. All right. Well, that's a little bit of Raw and SmackDown, and so. Let's just, for now, jump over to a little Dynamite and then Rampage. And, John said it's back to their MMA careers. So, I guess that would be, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I would tell you this. I'll let you start off with Dynamite. And by the way, you can talk about the highlights. I don't think everything. I watched it, and this is what my whole point is. I'm gonna say this. I watched Dynamite and I enjoyed it. And I'm asking myself, why did I really enjoy the show this time? And I'm trying to make up a really, really good excuse for that, a good reason for that. And I'm thinking, and I could be wrong, but maybe it's because some of the people I'm kind of already used to seeing that's coming over from WWE. So now I'm seeing them now in that capacity. So I kind of know a little bit more of about them and everything. Mm-hmm. And because I've watched it before, and as I watch sometimes the competitiveness between AEW roster going against each other, I sometimes seem to not care. But if there's someone I see, and I think that probably makes sense, right? Because think about this. Adam Cole, every week, for how many years, was showing up on, showing up on NXT. Frankie Kazarian, going back again, this guy's an excellent wrestler. He's awesome. But he's not somebody who Tony Khan put out there on AEW every week. So I wasn't watching them. Sometimes I literally forget about Frankie. And I'm talking about since they started to now. So now when I watch the match, I realize there's two great wrestlers, but I go, I'm enjoying it because I like Adam Cole, but they haven't pushed enough of Frankie enough for me to be really involved in that match. If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
I still enjoyed it. Yeah, go ahead.
So what you're telling me is that their strategy is working.
Okay.
By having these people whose either contract negotiations went south, or their contract expired, or whatever their situation might be, and they've cultivated a place where people want to come to work. And so obviously you're already going to have name association with Adam Cole, largely because WWE chose to let him keep his name. They didn't give him, some bullshit name like, like fucking Dirt Corvette or some shit like that.
Right.
And they let him be Adam Cole.
Right.
which was the name that he had on the indies and is a name that he had been building for several years prior to that in Ring of Honor and other independent promotions.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that the familiarity is definitely going to play in without a doubt.
But the question becomes now, when I watch next week, is Frankie going to be back on there? When I watch the next week, is Frankie going to be back on there? Or are we now fade him out? That's where the problem will go. Because we already know what Adam Cole, we already know what Daniel Bryanson going to do. We know where CM Punk is going. But what about these others? Are you going to keep having them on a weekly basis and then also not having them lose, but start to build them up as well? That's the other issue that I think they need to work on.
Now, so here's one thing to kind of keep in mind is, of course, they have the 2 shows that are on TV.
Mm-hmm.
They do also have 2 other shows on YouTube every single week. So it just comes down to what style necessarily of wrestling that you like to check out, but also we're starting to get to a pick your loyalty kind of aside. So what I mean by that is you take a look at the 2 talent rosters, and WWE has, so they put out 7 hours of content every single week, and that's just for the Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Now they have much more TV than that they put out. Are you going to choose to watch those shows, or are you going to watch the AEW shows with their, I believe, 7 hours or close to it that they have per week? Because it's pretty maniacal to ask a regular wrestling fan to keep up with both feds, with all of the members of both rosters. And it's kind of interesting to keep in mind as well. WWE, they have the brand split, even as much as people like to give them shit about it. They do still have largely separate rosters between, their 3 shows.
Right.
So as a result of that, you're going to be looking at them having, I looked at the numbers and each show. So Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Obviously NXT has more because they're, roped in with a performance center. But Raw and SmackDown, they each have about 30 to 40 members of those rosters apiece. AEW has over 95 contracted wrestlers on the roster.
So the question is, when is he going to start letting people go?
that's something that I think we all need to consider is, are we starting to see a saturation point? And if we are starting to see a saturation point, are we going to see some either releases, or keep in mind, a lot of those guys signed 3-year deals. We're a couple of years into AEW. And in fact, we could very well be coming up on that 3rd year for a lot of people. So I think that there are quite a few things that need to happen, and both sides, need to self-assess their company. We've ripped into WWE for their practices of when they've cut people, but call it what you will. They are doing everything that they can to keep their books as efficient as they possibly can, and as efficient as WWE can be. And Mikey actually makes a great point in the chat. He just says, it's like wanting to shop at Walmart or Amazon at this point. So that's spot on, man.
Yeah, it is.
And also, when I had mentioned the contract thing, John is mentioning that Gargano's contract expires at the end of this year, and Candice is early next year. Also, Candice mentioned Uncle Adam showing a picture of her baby picture, and Uncle Adam is Adam Cole.
Oh, Papa, please.
So,
as I was searching for stories to talk about for our 3 count, I ran into one topic that said, a lot of the NXT contracts were I guess 3-year, and they're all ending at around the same time, which is I think the one with Gargano. And they were saying part of the reason was that because they said in 2019, apparently as they were trying to get people to resign or sign or whatever, apparently they felt that what they were being offered was really low compared to, I guess, what they should have been maybe being offered for, I guess, being on TV and whatever the case. So some just didn't resign or whatever the case may be. So I don't know, and I didn't go much into it. I just thought it was interesting that they said that there's a lot of contracts coming up at the same time,
and it's not just NXT contracts either.
My guess is
main roster contracts that are coming up at the end of the year that it will be very interesting. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cesaro. Those are just 3 names.
Right. But again,
and those are all 3 names that would excel in AEW.
But then,
or anywhere for that matter.
That goes back to what you were just saying, though. What happens, though, when we had a situation where he can't really be signing anybody?
Exactly.
Daddy Khan gonna be having a talk with Son Khan in a minute. Son, come here. All right, because you spending a lot.
Well, all that I know is Daddy Khan's got a football team that is currently winless on the season, but Little Khan has the top rated TV show on cable the last 4 weeks running on Wednesday nights. I'm just saying.
That is true.
I'm just putting it out there.
I guess it comes down to the dollars, though. You know, is that is that NFL money looking a lot better than that
exactly
wrestling money?
Exactly.
You know, man. Yeah, go ahead.
So, but just to talk a little bit about this show. I mean, you briefly touched on it. Adam Cole versus Frankie Kazarian opened up the show, and really quick aside, Adam Cole's new theme is pretty fucking badass. Yeah, I gotta say, like they knocked it out of the park with that one. I just really wish that he would time out the boom with this song, because it's there. It's in the title of the song. The title of the song is "It's All About the Boom." So there's no way that he can't time it up to where it goes right in with when they're saying it in the song.
Right.
So
he's working on it.
Yeah. These guys did definitely start off the show extremely well. It was a solid match, nothing that blew the doors off or anything like that. Yeah, but it was a very, very, very solid TV match. Yeah, they went about 11 minutes, and it was good to see Adam Cole where I feel with no restraints, and I think that we're going to start to see that more frequently. Yeah. And I've had a couple of people that are lapsed fans that I've gotten back into watching pro wrestling by using AEW as sort of a gateway for them.
Right.
And this one buddy of mine in particular did not watch NXT, did not watch Adam Cole in NXT. As soon as Cole came out, he was like, that's a fucking superstar. Yeah. So the way that Adam Cole carries himself, I mean, it's not going to be too far out for the program to get him into the main event. BTE, which they love to, wink and nod to occasionally, they've already started planting the seeds for a Kenny Omega versus Adam Cole feud. So they're starting to plant those seeds on that. And typically one thing that you'll find is they'll run a couple of storyline experiments from time to time on BTE just to see how they get over with their core fan base that actually watch that show as well. And if the fan base pick it up and they run with it, then you start to see those things show up on AEW TV.
Right.
obviously not picking up where they left off with BTE, but literally starting it and doing the same shit that they did on BTE on the program. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, pretty solid stuff there. As far as, up next, can I just say how awesome it's going to be next week to see Minoru Suzuki and Lance Archer against John Moxley and frickin' Eddie Kingston. That's going to be an awesome match.
It sounds like it.
They're calling it a lights out match too. So lights out matches mean anything fucking goes, like no rules.
Right.
And it doesn't count against the win-loss statistics either. So yeah, that's very, I'm looking forward to seeing that for sure.
Yeah.
Dan Lambert is one of the best promos in the entire company.
Yeah.
He
I got to give it to him.
He cuts a promo. He cuts a hell of a promo.
Yeah.
And he's got American Top Team with him. He's got Junior Dos Santos. He's got Kayla Harrison, Andre Arlovsky, Paige Van Zant, and of course the Men of the Year, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky.
Right.
And so they're just talking shit about the entire roster. And who comes out but Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. Now,
yeah.
At first, I thought, okay, well, this is kind of weird, Jericho and Hager. But keep in mind, Jake Hager is an MMA fighter.
Right.
As call it what you will. He is undefeated in Bellator. So yeah, dude, like this was smart booking. I think that this is going to be pretty awesome. What I could really see happening with this is you could see something like, the Men of the Year picking up the win over, let's say, a Jake Hager or something of that nature, and actually elevating those two guys. So I think that this is going to be used as a program not to further Jericho, but this is going to be used hopefully to help build the Men of the Year as it should be. So,
okay.
Jade Cargill and legit Layla Hirsch. So this match was pretty solid. I will say this though. This was the longest match that Jade has had since she's made her debut.
Okay.
And it is, I don't want to say obvious, but it was one of those things that Layla Hirsch was doing a fair amount of calling the match and, getting things set up with the flow of the match.
Right.
So it was the fact that they gave them 6 minutes on live TV speaks volumes about the confidence that they have in both women. And it worked out pretty well. I think Jade came across looking like a fucking star.
Right.
I've said it time and time again. She is the future of this women's division. She definitely does need more seasoning, but as long as they continue a slow build process with her and not just rush her right to the top, then everything will be good.
I agree, man. Yeah, she's definitely entertaining to watch. And yeah, I mean, it seriously seems, I mean, when you see her, you automatically say, man, somebody's about to get beat down, and as long as she can show that power when she have her matches and to have that look, that dominance right there, man, would take her far.
Hell yeah, man.
So yeah. I'm with it. Shout out to Jade.
From there, we had a Don Callis, Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson promo.
Yeah.
And you have Don Callis pitching just a little bit inside baseball, saying that the only reason why Bryan Danielson signed his contract was for the betterment of the pro wrestling business, which is something that he actually said out of character. So for them to bring that into the storyline, I think was pretty interesting. And then obviously for Don Callis to call Bryan Danielson a mark, just like everybody in attendance.
Right.
That was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
But ultimately we ended up getting a one-on-one match, not for the title, this upcoming week at AEW Grand Slam. So we'll actually see that as the main event of Dynamite on Wednesday next week. So it'll be Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson. No championship on the line.
So when Bryan beats him, is that guy going to set up for the next match? And if that's the case, is Bryan finally going to win that, or are they still going to keep it on the greatest champion of all time?
Well, I think what's going to happen is we're gonna actually see Bryan Danielson win this match at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Mm-hmm. So I think that he will win the non-title match. AEW taking a page out of WWE's playbook, having their champion lose. They're allowed to do that every now and then.
Sure.
But as long as it's not an every week kind of a thing, then I'm okay with it. Now, obviously, where does that put Danielson after this? Well, I think that he will be 1-0. I don't think that puts him right at the front of the line. I think that.
Oh, that's right. You guys are about that whole statistics.
I know, man. Those damn numbers, those pesky ass numbers, getting in the way of storyline.
Oh my God. Oh man. Okay. All right. I forgot about that.
So
I don't pay no attention to that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's what we're coming to. So that was pretty much it. I mean, there was a pretty throwaway main event: Moxley and Kingston versus 2.0.
Yeah. Boo.
So I have to ask. I genuinely have to ask. Mm-hmm. Did the guys with 2.0, or did Tony Khan or anybody in the back, were they smartened up to this concept of NXT 2.0 coming? Because AEW has a joke tag team that everybody knows came from NXT, and they called them 2.0. And now the NXT product on Tuesday nights is NXT 2.0. I'm just saying, you can connect the dots wherever you will.
So you're saying that they're throwing jabs over there at WWE?
Oh, they're both throwing jabs. You kidding?
Yeah.
You kidding?
Yeah, because I guess
Roman Reigns cutting the promo saying who runs New York.
Right.
although the tickets sold for the UBS Center would say otherwise, as
it's not over yet.
AEW has sold more tickets than WWE has for the same building.
But they have different occupancies, though, right?
Yeah, AEW has more seats available, and they've sold more. It's kind of awkward. Just saying.
Wait till the time of the show, man. Man.
Anyway, coming from Rampage. Obviously, Rampage is an hour, so it is by far the best watch of virtually any wrestling show. I think 1 hour is a great time frame in order to have a show. If you want to have another show that's, given the size of AEW's roster, obviously they have to have other programming, but it's a super quick watch. We had Lucha Bros versus the Butcher and the Blade for the AEW Tag Team Championship. Get everything started for Rampage, excuse me. Mm-hmm. And tell me if you saw this one coming, but the Lucha Bros win in 10 minutes flat.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I don't quite know how the Butcher and the Blade became number one contenders. The commentary team was talking about that. I didn't quite see that, but I mean,
somehow they're undefeated and their numbers look great too.
All right, I guess.
It's amazing when those numbers come into play and when they don't.
It's like the whole it's like the Goldberg from WCW theory. Like, you watch Nitro one week and the guy's like 20-0, and then you watch Nitro the very next week and he's 40-0 or some shit.
Right.
Where did those other matches come from? Well,
yeah,
there you go.
yeah, exactly.
And I do just have to point out that because we were talking about 2.0 or 2.0, Mikey says NXT 2.0 looks like Nickelodeon. Pretty much, bro. Pretty much.
Hurry up, Sin City, so we can go over to NXT so I can talk about that. The real 2.0.
Oh, geez. All right. So last, whatever you say. Can we just have a moment of silence for Fuego del Sol's car?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah. So Miro versus Fuego del Sol for the TNT championship. And the stip for this was championship versus Fuego del Sol's Hyundai accent that he got because he just got the contract, the KHAN tract. Okay. Well, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, the match went 9 minutes plus, but it was Miro just wrecking shop, man. Wrecking shop. We saw Sammy Guevara come out and have a face off with Miro. Do we see Sammy be the one to take that TNT championship from Miro? I wouldn't exactly hate that.
I mean, I wouldn't either, but I don't know. I guess I have to see how much I really believe that.
Regardless, man, next week is going to be 2 very solid shows. Both Dynamite and Rampage are going to be 2 hours apiece. So that's going to be pretty solid. Yeah, the lineups are out there. Pretty awesome stuff, man. Suzuki Goon, like I said, Lucha Bros versus the HFO, I guess. Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Ruby Soho. Yeah. And quite frankly, those two shows, I mean, they're building them up to be almost pay-per-view quality. So,
yeah, I don't, yeah, good stuff. And like I say, I enjoy watching AEW. It's amazing just seeing a jam-packed arena and just watching this going from city to city. It's just it's it's amazing to see it. You can't lie. You can't sit back, even if you're a hater of it, and go, man, they're not doing nothing. They're making moves and it's showing.
They're not doing too bad for a t-shirt company. I'm just saying.
But let me go, man. 2.0 NXT. I was quite concerned knowing who was going to take over. I still have some thoughts about that. On the other hand, as an introduction of NXT 2.0, I don't see too much. I don't have too much of a problem with it. I like the setup. I like the little small place for the folks to sit and watch. I like the lighting. I like all of that. I've even the intro, what they're using, that they've been using. I like that. So far, the different colors, I'm with it. I don't have a problem with it. I thought all that was great. I guess they introduced, was it Braun Breaker?
Yeah.
And that guy right there is a beast. I'm not familiar with him, but
he's a monster. I just wish they would have let him use the name that they announced for him earlier in the week.
What was that?
It's that they had originally announced that they were going to use the name of Rex Steiner for him.
Oh,
because obviously he's Rick Steiner's son.
Right.
And incidentally,
I didn't know there was going to be a different
when
name.
he was cutting that promo, he definitely sounded like his dad as he was saying some of the words. It was actually kind of cool to hear.
Sure. So. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, but awesome. I mean, he was definitely showing, and great match between him and LA Knight. Of course, Imperium looking good as always. They was going to get Brooke and Jensen. So I'm not familiar with them. But
one of the guys is completely brand new. The other one was in the breakout tournament, or as I like to call it, the outbreak tournament.
The outbreak. Oh man, but no, a good match there and everything. Man, I got a chance to see BFAT.
Yeah,
have a match, and I'm a fan of Hit Row. seems like a lot of folks are a fan of Hit Row. Just watching the crowd and everything. So that's pretty dope. But Elektra Lopez has some words too. I'm kind of liking to see where this goes with this whole beef. So I'm really into that right now. And I thought that came out really good. Trick Williams.
You just had to know that Carmelo Hayes was going to turn heel at some point.
I didn't think it was going to happen. But I like how it happened right in front of our eyes, man. Normally that happens over time, but he went straight from smiling to just straight beat down. I'm liking it.
Dude, it was really good. And the thing is, I don't want to say that I thought he was heel, but I thought that when he made his appearance in the breakout tournament before winning the thing, I was like, they're definitely misusing this guy as a humble babyface. His look definitely just screams, I'm a heel and I'm going to kick your ass and I'm going to tell you why I'm going to do it. So I think that out of all of the kind of fresh faces on this show, I was other than Braun Breaker going to win the NXT championship in a month. I think Carmelo Hayes has the best trajectory of everybody that we saw. Right.
In my notes, I put poor Drake Maverick. Okay. Because all in that match, all I heard was, oh, ow, oh, oh, ah.
No joke, dude. He was going crazy, man, with the reaction.
Someone go check on him. I think he's dying. Oh man. The Creed brothers. Yeah.
Monsters, man. It's good that they're giving the Diamond Mine a fresh new tag team, and some guys that you just tell that their gimmick is not too far from what they really are. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's almost like as if it's who they are turned up to 11. And they've all, that's something that's always been said in pro wrestling, is those are always the best gimmicks. The ones where it's your normal personality just turned all the way up. So.
Right.
And shout out to Ivy Nile too. Friend of the show. So
that's right. Yep. She was, we interviewed her just to show people. That's why it's good to listen to our interviews, because you may not know, who they are now, but these people we interview are future stars, for lack of a better term there, that are going to that's going to move up. So it was good to see her get her spot there too. So yeah. And then of course you had the NXT championship. Did you think Kyle was not going to make the match?
No, I was honestly, I was kind of bummed that he was taken out of the match.
Yeah.
Obviously when you see that there's going to be a new NXT, a new era, a new chapter, all that kind of shit, and then somebody who has done extremely well for himself in NXT gets taken out of the match and they put in a brand new fresh face, instantly I'm thinking, okay, well, they're going to hot shot the title to Von Wagner. And that was instantly what I was worried about.
Yeah.
Thankfully that wasn't the case though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no offense to Von Wagner, but I just don't think that he's the best person to carry the title to start this new era, new chapter of NXT.
Right. Well, shout out to Tommaso Ciampa. He is the NXT champ. He's got Goldie again. So she's back. So that was exciting to see. But like Samoa Joe said, man, I don't know, Tommaso, if you want to hold that when he gets well. I think that's when I would relinquish the title.
Sign me up to see Ciampa versus Joe.
Right. Yeah.
Sign me up for that one.
Absolutely. And of course, we've got to talk about the wedding, man.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Listen, out of all the weddings we've seen, and just not in WWE, but just in pro wrestling in general, this one was actually one that wasn't like horrible, where it turned into this big, I don't know, fight match or whatever. It just.
You know why it was good?
Why?
Because it was a wedding. It wasn't like, just a clusterfuck with, an altar and people acting like they're getting married.
Right.
They actually went through with in WWE canon, Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell are now married. So
right.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was. And shout out to
wedding.
For putting mics on a lot of the talent that was sitting down, because it was great. I'm like, wow, you can hear them really good with Gargano and all of that. All of that was all of that was just put together so well.
And I'm not normally one to toot my own horn, but
okay.
Toot. And because I'm going to quote John in the chat.
Okay.
First off, shout out to Sin City Steve for calling Dexter Lumis's first words on NXT as "I do." Send the check, Uncle Bruce. Next.
He did.
Just saying.
You know what's so funny? If you go back and watch them, maybe you actually seen this, but when it was this time to talk, you could see like the audience member, and you kind of see them holding their hand back, like, wait, he's about to say it. He's about to... Like everybody was really hanging on to every word to see what he was going to say. That was just great,
dude.
Awesome.
And also Austin Theory. We don't ever talk about him or how well he plays his character.
That is true,
dude. He plays a dumb motherfucker better than almost anybody. Just so oblivious to everything. It's
right.
Great work. Just great work.
Because I was wondering where this ring was.
And then Jacket Man's got it the whole damn time.
Like, do you even know him? I think Gargano asked him. Man, good stuff. Yeah. I mean, it was very well put together. Oh man, I'm liking it, man.
And it sent the crowd home happy.
True.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. 2.0, man. I'm with it. I just hope they can continue.
We'll see.
I'm
with it for now.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how many weeks it takes for Braun Breaker to break Ciampa and take the title.
Well, I thought that was pretty interesting that they ended the show with that, and I'm like, wow, Braun's already going straight for I mean, he's definitely built for it. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah,
but be the next one to go right to it. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, whatever. Let's see where it goes.
Right.
Won't shoot it down. Oh man. Impact Wrestling.
Ooh.
They did have their pay-per-view. I didn't write a whole bunch of notes down for the show last week. I did see that Rhino got his ass beat out of Violent by Design. So I guess they're gonna roll with 3 instead of 4. So we'll see what happens with that. Or maybe they'll let him back in. I mean, his storyline's been kind of iffy for a moment. At one point they had to, they had to beat him up, but I thought he got like some sort of baptism they took him through, and and I thought maybe
blood in, blood out.
Yeah, I thought he was cleared and he was good and ready to roll, and then he got his ass beat again. So, I don't know. He might be really kicked out this time. But nevertheless, they did have their pay-per-view event, or I shouldn't say pay-per-view, but their event on Impact Plus. And some of the notable matches that they had the Impact tag team titles, which was the Good Brothers versus Willie Mack and Rich Swann. And of course, the Good Brothers still maintain. I mean, they they be holding it down, man. When it comes to the title there, they're winners there. When you see them when they would pop up on AEW, they were like losers.
Yeah,
like for real. But then when they show up on their own show, they're like winners. So it's like, I don't know. It is. Let me see some other matches that they had. They had I know they had the championship match. That was Ace Austin and Christian, and pretty much Christian ended up, of course, winning that one. But what I thought was really cool, all right, so there was a match earlier, the X Division, with Josh Alexander and Chris Sabin, and Josh won that too. Josh has just been unbelievable since he's had this belt.
Bro, I mean, he's a monster.
He is. So check this out. After the match with Christian's match beating Ace, Josh comes to the ring, and I never knew there was a so-called option C, but apparently Josh chose option C, which was to relinquish his X Division title to fight Christian for the Impact World title.
Well, that's the only way that they're going to get that X Division championship off of him.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But this is when I get excited, but I always have to set myself up for failure, because I'm excited because I'm like, boom, finally, Josh has been shown to be a dominant player in the X Division. To me, clearly he can now shine Christian. Clearly he should, as an Impact employee, take the Impact World title. But I feel the letdown coming, and it just doesn't make sense to me, because now you got your opportunity to have it as like I say, I have no issues with Christian. Christian, he's good for, he's good, but he's still not an employee of.
He's good for an outsider.
Right. And just because AEW don't know what to freaking do with them right now, because they got 1 million wrestlers over there, okay, so they go, hey, why don't you go over here and represent? No, sorry, find something for him to do, put the belt back over onto Josh, and that would be awesome. By the way, that match is going to be at Bound for Glory here in Vegas. I'm excited. Okay?
Hell yeah.
I will be there, and I'm going to be pulling for Josh. So, yeah, man, I was happy to see that all go down. Overall, it seemed like it was a great pay-per-view. To be honest, I didn't get a chance to watch it. That's a work day for me. I just read up for everything. But overall, it seemed like it turned out great. That was pretty much all the matches that's really worth mentioning was those three. So
Impact.
Yes.
From the chat, Chris asks, Rich Swann didn't win. Someone yell shenanigans for Impact.
Oh man, it would be nice for them to be the tag team champions, but I don't see it coming, man. I don't see it for those two. But they also, I mean, when you see Rich and Willie, when you see them in the ring, they give you the they make you believe that they have what it takes to actually win those belts. But somehow, the Good Brothers always seems to come back, and on top. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But man, Bound for Glory. And by the way, if you happen to be in Vegas, live near Vegas, whatever, tickets go on sale for that this Friday. So if you're interested in wanting to come to an Impact taping in Vegas, the show, I believe, is October 23rd. Yeah. And then they're also going to do 2 tapings that Sunday and that Monday. So if you happen to just make it a whole weekend, come for the pay-per-view, then do the tapings on Sunday, the tapings on Monday, Sunday, then on Monday. and just have an Impact experience. It's going to be over at Sam's Town, where they've done a lot of their shows, and it's going to be an exciting time. So if you could kind of remember, throw that on your calendar to get tickets. They're going to sell Friday. All right. With Ring of Honor, Steve, not a whole lot was going on. They'd had one match, Rhett Titus versus Mike Bennett for it was a pure rules match, 15 minutes. And believe it or not, there was no winner, which means the judges had to get involved. It went the entire 15 minutes, and no one pinned nobody. So that just show you how. I mean, they're great. So I didn't know who was going to come out of that, but the judges eventually gave the match over to Mike Bennett, and and gave him the overall match. So we'll see where that goes in the future, where they'll take that. But it was an awesome match to see that. Ring of Honor, I always talk about it, like you had mentioned. 1 hour of wrestling is just fantastic. And what Ring of Honor does, which I know AEW they can't do, just because they have so much talent that they have to get going within that 1 hour. But Ring of Honor does a very good recap on why you're about to see the match you see. And usually it's about a good 10-minute. It could be anywhere between 5 to 10 minute sort of video package. One person says their deal, then they go over to the other wrestler, they say they deal, and then after they come back from commercial, they go right to that match. So now you have a really good idea on, why you're going to be very invested into that particular match. And they do that all the time. So Ring of Honor is still doing their thing. New Japan, man, let's just get right into that. I know they're in their what is it now? Is it
the G1?
G1, right.
G1 is off and running, man.
Yeah.
It's been pretty awesome so far. Already a possible match of the year candidate. Night one, very first night of the entire tournament. Tomohiro Ishii versus Shingo Takagi. Those guys went almost a half hour. And it was almost a 5-star match, according to both the Pro Wrestling Torch and the Wrestling Observer. Okay. So it's not just Meltzer giving it, the inflated score, but both very reputable outlets are saying that the match was very solid. Just from the names involved in the match, I mean, Ishii is unreal. Just the amount of just how tough that guy is just unreal. If you've never watched an Ishii match, I highly recommend finding a way, spend the $9 for New Japan World, seek this match out. Shingo Takagi and Tomohiro Ishii from night one of the 31st G1 Climax tournament. And look it up, man. It was better than damn near anything that I saw this week on any show. Legit, like okay, that was the best thing that I saw this week, and it wasn't on any of the major shows that we cover.
Got you.
So yes, Impact. That's one thing that you need to get on there, bro. Got you. But yeah, so we've had 2 nights of the G1, and so we've gone. I'll just run over show results really quickly. Okay. Show defeated Oiwa. Yujiro Takahashi defeated Kota Ibushi. Night 1. Great Okan defeated Tangaloa. Okay. Toru Yano defeated Kenta in what was a complete shit box of a match. But then again, anything where Yano's involved is comedy, and you either love it or you absolutely hate it. I'll just leave it at that. Okay. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Tetsuya Naito. And Takagi defeated Tomohiro Ishii. Night 2, the B block. Show defeated Fujita via referee stoppage. So kind of interesting. We'll see what the fallout is from that. Evil defeated Yoshihashi. My pick to win the G1, and I said it last week, Jeff Cobb defeated
Okay.
Chase Owens.
Okay.
So we're 1-0, man.
That's
We're
right.
gonna make it happen.
I'm
Cobb's
pulling for
winning this
Jeff
fucking
too.
thing.
Let's do it.
Cobb's winning
Finally.
it.
Come on.
Sonata defeated Tamatonga. Taichi defeated Hiroki Goto. And the main event of night 2, Kazuchika Okada defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi. So we'll see, how things shape out for the next couple of nights in the tournament. Now, keep in mind, the G1 is a round robin style tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I mention one of the guys that you're pulling for as losing a match, don't worry. They could still come back and they could still win the thing. But it's interesting.
Are these happening every night?
Yeah. So basically the nights, September 18th and 19th, and then 23rd, 24th.
Okay.
And then the 29th and 30th, October 1st and 3rd. Yeah. So, I mean,
Gotcha.
It looks like as if they've got a little kind of spacing going on with that. So.
Right. Okay. Well, good stuff, man. Hopefully everybody is getting a chance to check out a little New Japan. And for that price, that's not bad.
If not, you should.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially during this time, man, you get a chance to see some of the these matches that's going on is definitely the time where you get a chance to see people at their greatness. Yeah. So jump on that. I think with that, Sin City, we've covered our wrestling duties. So we should get a paycheck. I don't know when it's going to come or who's going to cut it, but
cut that shit. Send it to me.
That's right, because we need it. But we thank everybody for hanging out with us. If you're listening to us online, of course, we're going to be back in just a few. If I figured out a way how to get us on. Now I'm going to figure out how to get us off and then how to get us back on.
Well, there you go.
Right. For y'all who don't know, let me clarify. I'm actually running the board here on our live stream, something I normally don't do. Believe it or not, Matt Michaels takes care of all of our live stream. Everything that you see, he handles on his own. Everything normally you hear on the podcast when you download it is what happens on my end. I usually take care of all the audio. So today I'm doing all of it, and this is definitely a new role for me. But look like we at least got this part out because we had quite a few people online. So thank you. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you're not listening to us, or you listen to us through our podcast, make sure to tune in for Tuesday's download because the 3 count topics are going to be really good. And I know you're going to want to hear and have your opinion on that. All right. So if you're watching us live, just hang on there and we'll be back. All right. Until then, thanks for hanging out with us and we'll see you next time. Peace.